Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Big John from Big John's Bully House. Had a lot of people ask me how I started, when I started, what was my first dog. So I figure why the weather's turning back to being horrible around here, man. We got severe storm warnings, high winds, possible tornadoes, hail, damaging winds, the whole 9 yards. So I figured I'd go ahead and see if I can't do a little video for you guys. This picture here is actually back from 1998. I do apologize, you know, it's on my computer. My mother had it with a Polaroid camera, and she actually took the picture, took a picture of the picture and sent it to me on Facebook. But this here is first dog I got. His name was Damien. I got him actually for my 14th birthday. It was back in 1998. I got this boy here. Old family red nose. Great dog. Great dog for me anyways. Thing about the old Pitbull, I mean the original, and the game dogs, man, is had a lot of fire in them. This dog here was more of a one-person type dog. Really wouldn't mind anybody else but me. I actually got into the Pitbulls, man. Lived out in the country my whole entire life. Didn't have a lot of friends. Kind of had a little bad reputation at a young age of being hot-headed and like to fight all the time. And something about the pit bull breed, I loved it. I felt like I could relate to the breed of dog, if that makes any sense. They were misjudged and misunderstood, and I guess so was I. But yeah, Damien was my first, one of my first dogs. I'm gonna see if I've got everything pulled up on the computer. I'm trying to go through the pictures, man. I couldn't find the original pictures and sit down and go through them like that, so you guys bear with me. I'm going to see if I can't pull up some older pictures and kind of, you know, show you guys a little history on when I started. After having Damien, I met my still wife today. I met her when I was 14 years old. Met her back in 8th grade in middle school. It was about 2 years after we were together. I had found out that she was pregnant with my first son at 16. Now, with Damien being the way Damien was, I knew I had to make a choice, and the right choice for my family and the starting of my family. So I ended up placing him out with a good buddy of mine. I knew with Damien's overprotective demeanor and temperament, it wasn't going to be safe, so to speak, I guess. For really anybody else, man, like I said, he was a very overprotective one-person dog. I even had one time an incident to where he actually went after my old lady when we were younger. Yeah, I just knew that, you know, it wouldn't have been fair for the dog to be kenneled for the rest of his life, or towards my family to be afraid of the dog that I had. Ended up placing him with a buddy of mine. He was really into the pit bulls back then as well. And then about 2001, my first son was born. shortly after, I ended up getting this black boy here. I ended up getting him for Father's Day from my old lady. His name was Snoop. In this picture, actually, he's 10 months old here, and this little brindle female got her off of my cousin's boyfriend at the time, little Jimmy Boots and Stratton bitch. The mother to her was a real good female. The father, now, he had a lot of fire in him. But the little female, I never really had no problems with her, man. She was an amazing dog. I couldn't ask for a better dog. I had a litter with Princess. That's a little female here. Had a litter with Princess. I think it was back in, let me see, trying to remember everything, man. It's been such a long time. Had a litter back with her. Man, it's been a long time. I can't even remember. Anyways, ended up having a litter with her. Bred to Snoop here. Ended up having a real nice litter off of that. Dogs were real good. Had some fire in them, man, but not too much fire. Thing about the old game dogs and pit bulls, man, you get a dog with a lot of fire, and then you get some that really didn't have that fire in them. Now again, I always liked the game dogs and the pit bulls. I just didn't want something with too much fire. Obviously, you know, having my kids and everything. Sorry about that, trying to do all these pictures and everything and on the computer now. Actually going back to my page and my mother's page, and I even had to figure out how to get back into MySpace. A lot of you probably don't remember MySpace, but had to figure out how to get back into MySpace and start finding old photos and everything. But yeah, man, like I said, you know, and it just wasn't the pit bulls, man. My father actually raised and competition hunted Walker coonhounds and showed them, and he traveled. Man, he traveled everywhere. He was all over the world. He was in coon hunting magazines, and you know, I've always been a dog man. I remember the first time I went hunting with the old man. I was 5 years old. 5 years old when I started hunting with my father, and it's something that we've done, you know, as a family for forever, for as long as I could possibly remember. And you know, I actually was using Damien to go hunt with the Walker coonhounds. Ended up showing him and training him how to coon hunt. Now, no, he wouldn't, you know, open up on a track, and no, he wouldn't roll over with that ball that a coonhound has. But he would get on the tree with the other dogs, and he would bark and yip and yap, and you know, I used to call it the warrior cry or the warrior scream, the way he sounded. Real high pitch, and it was constant yipping and yapping, and almost a cry is what it sounded like. So, you know, that's Damien so far from '98, and then Princess and Snoop here. I have had other dogs along the way as well. Go ahead and see if I can't find more pictures. I just came across this one on MySpace as I'm going through. This is back to, you know, my father being a coon hunter and showing Walker coonhounds. This is actually That's me there, and that's my little brother. And these are two of my father's Walker Coonhounds. Back then, the quality of pictures wasn't very great, so that's why it's seems a little distorted, as well as me doing this from a phone onto a computer. You'll get some distortment on here. But I'd say here in this picture, man, I was probably 10 years old, maybe. See if I can't find some other photos for y'all. This little pup here, actually ended up getting him not too long after, ended up buying our first house here. Still in the same home we bought when we were young. Bought our first home at 21 years old. This little boy here, his name was Shorty. Actually, between Shorty and Peaches, and I'll show you guys some pictures of Peaches. After Shorty and Peaches, man, is when I started, well, I had Peaches first, started coming into the American Bully world. You know, I started getting out of the Pitbulls and the game dogs, and started seeing more of the American Bullies. Ended up going and picking this boy up here. He was off of Rufus the Bull times Diamond. I think that's her name, was Diamond. I'm pretty sure that's her name. May not be. I mean, like I said, it's been years, man. I actually got this boy here from Kev Green. A lot of you might know him, a lot of you might not. He is he's the owner of BRC Global. I remember the first time I met Kev is when I bought this boy here. It was a real good dog. Didn't end up turning out how I wanted, and that's sometimes that happens, man. It's no fault of the man I bought it from. It's no fault of my own. It's no fault of, you know, the parents. It just sometimes it happens, and it is what it is. Shortly after I bought Shorty, I bought a little bitch. She was, I drove, I think it was 7 or 8 hours to pick her up as a breeding pair. And about 1.5 years old or so is when I really started seeing that, you know, it really wasn't what the style that I wanted. Now, like a lot of people, when you first come into the dogs and the bullies and the pit bulls or whatever the case is, German shepherds, whatever your preference is, I went crazy, like a lot of people do. Anything and everything at a young age, I was like, man, you know, it's bully. I want it. I have to have it. I got to get it. I'm going to buy it. I'm buying it now. You couldn't tell me anything. It did not matter. I didn't care. If I had the money was going into your hand quick and in a hurry, especially if it's something that I wanted. And that's what I started doing. You know, I did have people along the way like, man, chill out, you know, slow down and, you know, take your time. And I'm like, nope, you know what? It's what I want. I'm buying it. Probably should have listened. And this is where it comes in to where when not only myself, but other reputable breeders tell people, hey, man, do your research. Chill out. Slow down, man. You know, really see what you're getting into. That's because we've been in your shoes and we've done the impulse buying and the impulse spending, and it doesn't matter, man, I have to have it, I'm gonna have it type thing. You know, we've all been there. And from experience, we try to tell everybody, man, just, you know, take your time, do your research, and make sure this is the dog you want, the money you want to spend. You know, just take your time. And even after me spending all the money I did, a lot of the dogs I ended up giving away for free. At that time, it was just, you know, young and dumb. You spend money, and money came fast and money went fast type deal. But let me see if I can't find some other pictures. I know I got some other pictures around here. Female on the right here is Peaches. I got her off a guy I knew way back then. Ended up, she was off of Richard and Rosie's Godzilla times Miss Gotti. She was supposed to be, well, man, if you knew Godzilla back then, Godzilla was a monster way before his time. Didn't fill out. Again, you know, this is part of the game, especially with such a newer breed. But nonetheless, man, she was a great, wonderful female. Great temperament, great all-around dog. Never had any issues temperament-wise. Ended up finding a stud, you know, way back then on MySpace, man. Is actually how I ended up meeting this guy. With this white boy here, and that white mark you see above him, that's the only thing he had. He was a 2 times throwing knuckle son. His name was Casper. Man, he was a real badass boy. I know in the pictures it doesn't, you know, pictures can make or break you. They can either make your dog look real good or make your dog look real shitty. It just, that's what a picture is, man. Videos as well, if you can't get that right angle, especially on a white dog. Me and Dayton were just discussing this here the other day. A white dog is so hard to catch and capture the actual dog in a picture, man. It just, you would pretty much have to do a backdrop of like an all black in the back in order to really see that all white dog, or a huge majority of white dog. A picture just will not capture what you see every single day. I guess in order for everybody to know what you're talking about, they'd have to come see your dog in person, which I know a lot of people don't like to do that, and don't just like to give out their address and have random people show up and look at all their dogs like a petting zoo. Let me see if I can't find some more pictures for you guys. Now, even back then, even with the style of dog that I had with Peaches and, you know, breeding her to Casper, there was only 2 puppies that came out. Little male here, little female here. Actually, ended up back then, I did the breeding for a pup back deal. Ended up doing breeding for a pup back deal to the stud owner. And even though there was only 2 puppies, I still stuck by my word, even way back then, and gave him first pick. He actually ended up picking this little female named Rohana. I sold this male here to a buddy of mine that I grew up with in school. His name was actually Tank. Everybody was pleased and happy with their dogs, their picks, their purchases. Tank actually ended up living to be, man, what was he? 10 years old, if I'm not mistaken. 10 years old before he ended up, it was cancer, man. He ended up getting cancer. I know my buddy, man, was heartbroken, man, and like anybody, man, when you get a dog, especially if the dog is just more to you than just, I guess, a breeding tool. The dog means so much to you that when you go through a loss with that animal, it hurts. Even with, you know, a lot of people, breeders, you know, I know a lot of us are looked at as monsters and everything because we breed dogs or whatever, and people think that we don't have hearts. That's completely false. especially on my end. And I'll get into that when I start showing you guys the pictures of Baby Girl. Was one of the best dogs. One of the best dogs, and that's no lie. One of the best dogs I have ever had the pleasures of owning. And I'll get into her pictures and her story here shortly. That's a little black and white male. At the time, I was calling him Panda Bear. Actually, when my buddy bought him, he ended up changing his name to Tank. But this picture here is at 4 weeks old, 4 weeks of age. Littermate sister Ohana at 4 weeks of age as well. This female here was named Jasmine. This was actually off of Peaches' second litter. I bred her to a big old blue and white male a buddy of mine had around my area at the time. This little female here was 3 months old in this picture. I actually ended up selling her, I think it was 9 months old. I sold her to another buddy of mine that was really wanting a female. I actually ended up selling Jasmine. And then, you know, after this litter, the vet recommended that I fixed Peaches, which, you know, it was no problem. I had her fixed. About 4 years of age, she ended up developing a problem. You know, it was anal prolapse. Rushed her in for surgery. Got her fixed. I think it was about 2 days later, man, it happened again. Rushed her in for another surgery. Happened again, and the third time I went in, the vet told me that, you know, it's going to be something that continues, and the only other way or other option I have is to put her down. That for me was really hard. First time, no, yeah, it was first time. First time I ever actually had to end up putting a dog down. And it sucked, man. It was really hard. It was really hard. Never had to do it. Never thought I'd have to do it. It's kind of one of them things, you hear stuff and you hear people talk about certain situations they've been through, but it's always one of them things that, you know what, that ain't gonna happen to me. And that was my thought process. But it did, and it sucked. It was horrible. But nonetheless, you know, let's continue and see what else I can't find for you guys. Here's a picture of Peaches that I found as I was scrolling through MySpace a little more. As you can see, a very young version of me. The goatee was a little baby goatee. You can see that right there. Peaches was probably, I think she was 9 months. 9 months here. 9 months old. Again, she was off of Richard and Rosie's Godzilla Times Miss Gotti. Richard and Rosie's was down there, if I'm not mistaken, Texas. And then, let me see what else I can find you. Here's my oldest son with Peaches the same day. This is my oldest son with his dog. My oldest son just sent me this picture he had of him and that female princess that I showed you guys kind of at the beginning. This is actually my son here at 1 year old, my oldest boy. He's 17 going on 18 now, with this little female here, Princess. She was like 7 months, 8 months, something like that. 7 or 8 months. So, yeah, he's going on He's going on 18. He'll be 18 in August here. So, kind of shows you, I guess, how long this has been going on for with dogs with me. But go ahead and continue and show you guys some more photos. This here is actually Doja, the father to Peaches, and her little mate brother. I can't remember his name, but show you guys them. Some of my favorite old pictures, man. Like I said, you know, I've always been a dog man. Was kind of born into it with the old man, and then kind of went my own ways. Gentleman right here is Mr. Colby himself. When I was doing game dogs, man, you know, I didn't just research the dogs, I researched the man behind the dog. And actually, this is where the tri-color actually started. Way back then was with the Colby line, Colby blood. A lot of people thought, you know, and still think that today is because the Bullies and the Mutts and the mixing of the Rottweilers or the Dobermans or whatever the case may be. One of the first tries was the Colby line. Mr. Stratton, another well-known guy. Bobby Hall. Mr. Mayfield. Back to the father. You know my father, like I stated before, he was competition hunter, traveled the world, was in magazines, hunting, showing. This is what he loved to do. This was back in 1989. I actually ended up getting Rowdy, if I do believe, from his family down in Kentucky, where my family actually originates from. And with this, you know, coonhounds were bred to hunt, to track, to tree. I just had different thoughts, and I wanted to train my pit bulls to do it. And you know, I started training with Damien, with my father, and kind of kept it going with Baby Girl, and we'll get into Baby Girl. Now there will be some pictures that you guys see. If you do not like hunting or anything like that, I would suggest you guys don't look at these pictures. It's really not gruesome or nothing like that. I would say it's not crazy, but it is a picture of a dog and me and some raccoons we hunted. This here is Baby Girl, a little red-nosed bitch. Actually ended up getting her. Well, I didn't get her. My little brother got her, and we all know how that goes. Little brothers want dogs, and you know, I've always been around dogs, man. So I've figured every young boy should have a dog. Ended up being one of the best dogs I ever had the opportunity and pleasure of owning. 3 of my youngest sons, 4 years old, 8 years old, and 10 years old. I actually ended up getting Baby Girl, I think it was 2005, 2006, maybe more towards 2006 if I'm not mistaken. But as you can see here, you know, and I know a lot of people are like, oh man, you know, you let your dog do that, turn it mean and vicious. I also have photos to show you that it didn't turn that way. It's all how you raise a dog and how you treat a dog, and you have to train your dog when to turn it on and when to turn it off. And that's the most important key to being a responsible dog owner. Here again is another photo of baby girl with a couple raccoons we got one night. This is actually back November 7th, 2013. This here's another photo as well. And I know a lot of people are going to see this and probably get upset or have something negative to say. With that being said, hunting is something I guess you would have to grow up on and have been doing your whole life, and in order to understand and appreciate it. I know here in Illinois, raccoons are a very big problem. In town and out of town, I've actually been called numerous times to farmers' fields and homes and barns to where the raccoons have completely destroyed everything in their path. And I'm called out to dispatch them and to take care of them. If I'm not mistaken, here just last year alone, in 1 square mile, the raccoon population is anywhere from 9 raccoon to 48 raccoon in 1 square mile. When it comes time to breed, which is the off season of hunting, here in Illinois it's January. When it's time for the raccoon to start breeding, you can have anywhere at any given time 90 raccoon to 100, I think it was 150 or 160 if I'm not mistaken, raccoon in 1 square mile when it's time for them to breed. So the population here is plentiful, to say the least. Now, you know, I've never killed an animal just to kill it. I've never done that. I've never hunted just to kill something. That's never been the case. There's rules with hunters, and there's laws that should be taught at a very young age. You never take the life of something that you're just going to waste. The furs are sold to a fur buyer, and the meat is given to anyone and everyone that wants it. I don't let anything go to waste. I've never been that type of person. This here is a size comparison to how big the raccoons around here can get in Illinois. Now, if you guys remember the videos of Princess and know who Princess is, and if you've been following me since I've started, you should know who Princess is. Princess is one of Hooch's best daughters and most extreme daughters. This here is Princess at 9 months old. This is a coon laying next to her. Like I've said, I started training my dogs way back when I was a kid with my father. And I still, today, Hooch, actually, I've said it in videos before, I take Hooch on the trap lines with me. I take Hooch out in the woods at night with me. I even taught Hooch, even as extreme as he is, I've taught Hooch how to hunt with me. One thing about me is I do not want a lazy dog. I've said it time and time again in all my videos. I do not want a lazy dog. I do not want a dog that cannot move, run, jump, play, and enjoy life. As well as I want a dog that can work. I love a working dog. That's why I started into the Pitbulls, and even coming into the American Bullies and the extreme American Bullies. I still want my dogs to work at any given time. No matter the weather, no matter the, you know, how hot it is, how cold it is, regardless, I want my dogs to be able to work. Here is a picture of Hooch, actually on a trap line. Ended up catching one on the ground one day, and ended up getting loose, and that's why I take hooch. When a farmer calls me to get a job done, I make sure I get the job done. That's kind of what I'm called for. But like I stated, I do have pictures of my dogs working, you know, for proof of not just, hey, the guy said this, the guy said that type deal. And like I stated, you know, before I started, you know, showing these pictures, it's not really gruesome. It's not blood and gore. It's nothing of the sort. You will see a little bit of that, I guess, but for the most part, it's not too extreme, I guess, or too much. This here is actually the last time baby girl went hunting with me. She ended up developing a problem in her back legs and her spine. She ended up pretty much going paralyzed in her back half. You know, and I told everybody that I was going to get one last ride with her in the truck and one last hunt in before it got to the point where it was too bad. Actually took my nephew and my oldest son out. You know, they wanted to be a part of it with me. So this is the last time she hunted before we had to take her to the vet. And the vet advised us that if we didn't put her down, eventually everything would travel up to her front legs and she would be completely paralyzed and wouldn't be able to walk anymore. Very hard things to do when it comes to these dogs. Doesn't matter what breed of dog you have, when it comes time to do something like this, I promise you, I don't care how big you are, how bad you are, what you've seen, what you've done in your life, putting a dog down will rip your heart out completely. And it did me. I didn't break down at the vet. You know, I did lay on the floor with her and I held her. When I came home and I walked in the bathroom, my wife walked in and asked me if I was okay, and I lost it. Cried so hard that my knees buckled, couldn't catch my breath. It was a different pain and a different hurt that I've never really truly experienced. And the worst part was she still had a lot of life in her. She was 8 years old here, and still acted like a young pup. Kind of like how you guys see Hooch in all the videos still today, and he just turned 7 May 28th. Now here's the same dog that would go out hunting, come home, get cleaned up, give her a bath, and lay right next